welcome back to our podcast series, Getting Closure for Your Business and for You. So, once again, Cheryl Stainsby from Your Directors Advocate. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, James.
So, today's a really interesting one. We'll call today Taking the Step. And that's sort of, you've decided it's time, you've got to actually do something about liquidating a company. Okay, step us through that part of the process.
It's quite often a long journey to get to the point where you realise that your back's against the wall and now you need to appoint a liquidator. And so how do you know? How do you know who to go to? There's a lot of people out there who have insolvency companies who are advertising on the net, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. How do you decide who to go and see?
Like all through the noise of all these people who say they can help you.
That's
what
right.
you mean?
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you choose?
Well, I think you've got to trust your advisors. So if you've had an advisor that's been working through with you, it might be your accountant, it might be your lawyer, it might be a financial advisor of some sort, it might be a director's advocate. If you've got somebody that you trust, generally you'll find that they have contacts that maybe know 2 or 3 different insolvency practitioners. And I would advise you to perhaps talk to 2 or 3 different insolvency practitioners. Don't just grab the first one you see on Facebook or LinkedIn, and certainly don't grab the cheapest one. I think that you need to talk to them. You need to understand what it is that you're signing up for by putting your company into liquidation. And I think that possibly you need to feel comfortable with the liquidator that you're appointing.
I get that. So you're saying that, you're a person who you've been speaking to for a little bit of the time, who's an advisor. We've talked before about the point of acceptance. Someone's approached you with the problem. They've been honest with you. You're saying there's sort of a panel of good liquidators around town, well credentialed, well qualified, are respected amongst the business community. You'd go to a couple of them and say, with your advisor?
Absolutely. And find out what the process is. Find out, what it's going to cost you, exactly what the steps are that you'll have to go through. And as I said, you'll find that if you speak to 2 or 3 different people, you'll feel probably more comfortable with one person than maybe you'll feel with another. Bearing in mind, you always have to remember that liquidators are working for the creditors.
Right.
And they are required to act on behalf of the creditors. They're not acting on behalf of the director. But that's not to say that they're not going to treat you with the respect that you deserve. And they will give you all of the information that's pertinent to putting your company into liquidation.
So if you go to the liquidator with an honest, hey, this hasn't worked out approach, these people are, in a lot of cases, businessmen or business people themselves, so they will understand that, things go wrong. So if you go, like we've talked before about not having funny transactions going on or selling things off to a relative and all that sort of stuff. You go to them with a pretty well set out set of affairs for them. Then their job is to do the job with the information that they've got and be able to investigate, knowing that you've run a good business.
That's right. And I think the other thing to remember too, James, is that the liquidator will look after the affairs of your company. The liquidator, 9 times out of 10, is not able to give you advice in regard to your personal affairs, in regard to any personal guarantees that you may have given as a result of trading, and they are generally unable to advise you as to what the fallout may be from those personal guarantees.
In some cases, is not their job, and even not all of them would know. So you really got to get the advice of somebody like a director's advocate who's actually seen the whole process end to end, and also sort of kind of in some ways walks in the shoes of the director. Is that sort of?
That's right. And look, let's be honest, most of these liquidators do have a reasonably good understanding of what the ramifications are for the director, but legally they cannot advise the director in regard to their personal affairs if they're liquidating the company.
Right, a bit more to talk about next time. Thanks.